Hello, good morning. I am Jaime Elizondo from Real World Ranch. I want to know if you're enjoying this podcast as much as I do. I try to make them easy to understand, and I try to convey things that to me are very important in producing more beef per acre or more livestock units per acre at the lowest cost possible, while we improve our productivity and our land the fastest. That is my passion, and that's what I'm trying to convey in my messages. I hope you all are enjoying it and you are learning from it and you're thinking about applying it to your land. It is so important we apply it to our land and we start making improvements and taking the steps necessary to enjoy a better life in the country with higher productivity at lower cost. So today, I hope you're having a good day and you're ready to take the advantage of the opportunities that each day brings us. Let us thank God for the opportunities He gives us every day. Have you wondered why it is so difficult to change your opinion, your way of thinking, your routine, your habits, your way of grazing, your cattle selection guides, or the way you make your numbers to see if something is workable or something is profitable or something makes sense? In my life, I have learned and unlearned. When I have unlearned, when I have been exposed to better methods or new information, that after careful analysis, I can understand that it is better and it does make sense. By doing this, we can move forward and not stay in the past, because knowledge, especially in these modern times, advances in a fast and amazing way. But it is not easy to change our mind precisely because of something that we can call a paradigm. What is a paradigm in simple language? It is defined as a standard, a perspective, or set of ideas. A paradigm is a way of looking at something. The word paradigm comes up a lot in the academic, scientific, and business world. A new paradigm in business could mean a new way of reaching customers and making money. And in farming or ranching, it could be a new way of producing more. Another definition that I like more is this. A paradigm is a model, pattern, or example that must be followed in a certain situation. We can consider that we human beings tend to fall into paradigms, and thus we stop learning what is new, which could help us improve. We must be willing to accept new information without shutting our minds to consider the enormous possibilities that are offered to us if we just open our minds. The mind is like a parachute. If it doesn't open, it will be useless. And maybe you're thinking, what is the use of this to improve the productivity of my farm and improve my livestock and my lifestyle? Actually, a lot, because we have been applying obsolete knowledge based on theories or experiments from 70 years ago or more, especially on the grazing part. Other times, we continue to apply selection guides that are leading us increasingly to livestock with less resistance to the challenges of their natural environment and livestock that require greater cost in inputs. We have also learned theories from people who have not had the chance to be successful on their own farm or ranch, or do not even have a farm or ranch. Yet, they teach the theory that they learned. This last reason is one of the most important, because only those of us who have been successful in increasing the productivity of our farms at a low cost and who live from the results that we achieve know what it means to be in the boots of the livestock producer. What I want to expose is a resistance to change. It has happened to me several times in my life, in which I have had to learn to unlearn when I see and learn something that works much better than what I had been practicing until then, and they conflict. It is also something that happens to all my Total Grazing program students when first learning how different it is from the other grazing programs. Remember that good enough is the enemy of best. And many times we think that if what we do is already good, why try to improve? Well, I hope you guys want to be excellent at what you do. And I mean excellent when compared to the best in the world, not at the local level. I remember when I learned that what I was doing regarding grazing, which I thought was the very best, and by this I mean I was doing selective rotational grazing, was not helping to improve my soil. That was very hard for me because I had been moving my cattle on my farm once a day for years, trying to observe proper rest periods and looking for the right maturity in my grasses to achieve the best performance of my animals. But the land, after an initial improvement, stopped improving in later years, and when any dry time came, it degraded. The capture of carbon in the form of humus was not high enough to increase productivity several times as I wanted, and what I had been told could be achieved in more benign climates. That paradigm of not letting the animals graze down to the bottom and leaving a higher remnant from 4 to 8 inches, which some experts teach, didn't work in my environment. The only thing it does is to take you to overgrazing because the herd has to return faster to regraze the first paddock or field, and that is the definition of overgrazing, returning to regraze before the plants have fully recovered. I told you that good enough is the enemy of the best, and in relation to grazing, it means the following. Although rotational selective grazing allowed me to double the stocking rate compared to continuous grazing, it was still far below potential. Potential that now I have achieved applying the total grazing program that I mentioned. We usually get double the stocking rate in the first year with respect to the rotational selective grazing. Another very important paradigm that has harmed us graziers a lot is the belief that humus is created by the decomposition of plant residues that remain after grazing, or what we call litter. Many experts say that leaving more trampled residue is the best thing to do, and that in the end, it will turn into humus, which is the degraded fraction of organic matter that gives true fertility to our soil and lasts more than 100 years. Now we know that this is not the case. By that I mean that the trampled residue is going to turn into humus. And for 6 years, this has been known, according to scientific studies, that humus is formed mainly from the digested bodies of microorganisms fed by exudates from plant roots, and that is why it is so important, also for the formation of humus, that the regrowth after grazing contains a lot of leaves. Leaves and not stems produce energy through photosynthesis. Under the total grazing program, 80 to 90% of the grass on offer is harvested by grazing of our livestock. The result is regrowth with more leaves or leafier regrowth, just like when you mow the lawn or cut down perennial grass to make hay. This also allows you to give longer rest periods and avoid overgrazing. Why are graziers not comfortable with a grazing program where high harvest efficiency grazing is done, but they do feel comfortable mowing the grass all the way down with a hay or silage machine? I think it comes from what they have learned in the past, that the soil must be completely covered, that no more than 50% of the plant should be consumed or harvested, that the bare soil will be heated or cooled, that, well, many reasons. Any of those objections are not valid if the total grazing program is applied as I teach it. I will explain. Under the total grazing program, enough litter or residual is left after grazing to cover the soil. A higher density of desirable plants per square yard is achieved. Overgrazing is avoided, with the result that forage plants achieve fat roots that protect the soil much better than any amount of high litter. The idea of not harvesting more than 50% of the plant comes from a time where there was only continuous grazing, and that idea comes from an experiment done by Kreider in 1955. Much has changed since then, of course. Now we no longer have to be tied to outdated ideas that do not take basic plant physiology into account. Many times I have received comments that the ground is going to heat up in high temperature environments or that the ground is going to freeze in low temperature environments. My students on the total grazing program are doing total grazing at temperatures from 47 degrees Celsius in Mexico, that's like 120, to minus 40 degrees Celsius, that's like minus 30 some Fahrenheit in Canada, without those problems that some people believe they will have. You see, the more life in the soil we manage to have by increasing humus and avoiding overgrazing, the more resistant the soil is to high and or low temperatures. That is something that these experts do not take into account and instill fear in livestock producers since they have never done it themselves. Summary and review. 1. We must examine our paradigms and evaluate if it is currently the best to continue practicing it, if it gives the best results, or see if there is another better way or method or program. Keep in mind that good enough is enemy of the best. 2. Open your mind and consider why a new idea can work better than what we have been doing, instead of shutting your mind and trying to find the negatives about something new that could be much better. Remember, the mind is like a parachute. It is useless if it does not open. 3. Be careful who we learn from. Many experts are not even successful ranchers or are theoretical and lack real-world experience. If we have already learned from that type of experts that although they are well-intentioned, it is simply not the best, and now we find something that is so much better, we must learn to unlearn and learn the new and best. 4. Rotational selective grazing. Although it is better than continuous grazing, it falls far short of the potential achieved by implementing the total grazing program. 5. Understanding how humus is formed and understanding that it is the true fertility of your soils is crucial to understand the total grazing program. With the total grazing program, we achieve the highest productivity at a low cost by avoiding overgrazing, using biological methods, and without the use of chemicals or synthetic fertilizers. Well, this is all for today. If you're interested in knowing more about the total grazing program to increase your productivity at a low cost, I invite you to subscribe to my podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. Also, do not forget to subscribe to my weekly email at www.rwranching.com/join. See you the next time.